Hey there. This is a preview of our first Fireside chat, a new series of discussion podcast episodes exclusively for our Patreon supporters who make our work possible. We're producing more regular podcast episodes for our supporters in an effort to try to attract more patrons, because if we're able to grow our support enough, then we're going to be able to produce more regular episodes freely available for everyone as well. To listen to this whole episode without ads, just join us at patreon.com/workingclasshistory. Link in the show notes. Enjoy. Hi to all of our amazing Patreon supporters. We've got something new for you today, the first WCH Fireside chat. To say thank you for helping us keep most of our content free for everyone, we wanted to give you a little something extra for your support. So we thought we'd try to make more bonus episodes just for you. We're going to try to produce at least one exclusive episode every month for you from now on, and sometimes more. To start off with, we wanted to make an episode where we answer any questions our listeners and readers had about us and WCH more generally. Lots of people sent in questions, so we're going to do our best to answer as many of them as we can over the course of this chat. So a couple of days ago, I got a fire going and got on a call to my co-host Matt. Then we went through your questions together. So listen on and hope you enjoy.
As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts grey, are brightened by the beauty sun discloses, and the people here are singing bread and roses, bread and roses.
Yeah, so what was that about Keir Starmer giving you legal advice?
What, Keir Starmer? What, our new socialist prime minister, you mean? That one? Yeah. Me and Keir, we go way back, as it goes. We go way back.
K-Dog.
It's, yeah. No, he not many people know, but he actually prefers to be called Keith. But yeah, no, basically, it goes back to, at the time, I didn't know that he'd given me legal advice. It was actually the other day, I was just clearing stuff out from my mum's house, because at this point in my life, my mum kind of feels, bits of paper that belong to me that have been in her house for 20 odd years should probably either go to my house or go in the bin.
That's so out of order.
I know, outrageous.
You're just a baby, a 40-year-old baby.
No, exactly. Anyway, so my mum being really unreasonable. So I was clearing out some old stuff and I found these old papers. Yeah, basically a legal case from when a whole, not just me, but a bunch of people had been kettled in Oxford Circus on a May Day demonstration. And, we were held there for hours and hours and whatever. And basically there was this plan to build up a kind of a mass legal case to sue the Met and then say that we were detained illegally or whatever. So this group solicitor went and got some legal advice from some barristers who said basically, you need to get a lot more people involved if you want to do a mass lawsuit against the Metropolitan Police. You need to do X, Y, and Z, blah blah blah. And these are all the things that you need to do to be able to sue the Met for it. And then I was sort of reading through all the barristers' notes, and I got to the last page, and it was signed Keir Starmer. And I was like, oh shit! So when I was a teenager or whatever, Keir Starmer was giving me legal advice, which was just quite. I was so surprised to see it. But yeah, there you go. Keir Starmer has been down since day dot.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what Labour does with the new Public Order Act.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. That's me. That's my links to Keir Starmer. My links to the highest echelons of power in the UK.
Well, yeah, you should WhatsApp him and tell him to just go scrap the Public Order Act ASAP.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that quite a lot, and he's just leaving me on red, unfortunately.
Classic Keith.
Classic Keith, exactly.
Forgot where he came from.
Yeah.
By the way, that looks like a pretty spiffy sweatshirt you've got on.
Oh, what this? Yeah. No, it's our own merch that I'm wearing because I don't don't buy my own clothes anymore.
For listeners, it's a May 68 Beauty is in the Street poster sweatshirt available on the link in the show notes.
Yeah. But like, it looks really good on me because I'm like wedge, basically. So like it just, you know, it's very sort of tight fitting around my sort of swole chest and shoulders.
I mean, we do follow that menswear guy on Twitter, so we do know that like actually wedge people are not supposed to wear tight fitting clothes. But anyway.
Right, yeah. And I don't have enough clothes with collars though to worry about collar gaps, which is like I keep like I will. The thing is, I will read that guy's threads like religiously and be like, yeah, that's really interesting, that's really cool. And I was like, then look in my cupboard and be like, actually, there's no application at all. I guess I'll put on another t-shirt or put on another sweatshirt. My partner would probably appreciate it if I started following that guy's advice.
She knew what she was signing up for.
She did a little bit, you know what I mean? But yeah, alas.
There were signs.
There were signs, exactly.
But, well, we have questions from readers, listeners, and our lovely Patreon supporters who make everything that we do possible. So, again, to you all, thank you. It means not to get all serious, but yeah, we really appreciate it.
This is some serious English stiff upper lip, like not to get all emotional about it, and you know, say things like "thank you," you know. So you know, that's it. You're about to break out into like real emotions and like shake someone's hand or something, you know. Like, but yeah, it is basically the idea is that it is just amazing that you guys are kind of helping us do this, and so yeah, we wanted to produce this to show our gratitude, basically.
Yeah, because we do think it's important that our kind of like documentary stuff, our stories generally about people's history, and our podcast episodes where participants in these old movements talk about their experiences, we really think it's important that everyone gets to hear that. But at the same time, we want to be able to give you folks something exclusive as a particular thank you for your support. So there's always a balancing act between thanking people for their support and also making as much of our content as possible free for everyone. So do feel free to give us your thoughts on that. Drop us an email or let us know in the comments if you'd like something different, or if you think we're going in the right direction with stuff or not. Do let us know, because we want to kind of do what we can to get you the most from your Patreon support. Okay, that was it for the end of that. Should we start with the questions then?
Yeah. Come on, man. Let's do it. Have you ever encountered any radical patients' unions or radical historical healthcare movements?
Yeah, basically, in short, yes, we have. There are a good few examples, a bunch of which are on our Stories app, which is at stories.workingclasshistory.com, and the companion map. Both of these things you can filter by topic. So on the Stories app, you can go to the index, the topic, and choose health, or you can go to the map, filter it health. But yes, we've got quite a few examples up in there. Things like the Mental Patients Union in the UK in the 1970s, where basically a group of radical patients of mental health services, they had an understanding of mental health care and psychiatry as a tool of capitalist oppression, and saw that insanity and mental illness was a symptom of living in an insane society. So it had a lot of parallels with the anti-psychiatry movement of the same time period, which is a super interesting movement. There were other groups around the same time, like in Germany, a group called the SPK, the Socialist Patients Collective. Their slogan was something about wanting to turn illness into a weapon. A lot of that group got embroiled in police raids against the Red Army faction, an urban guerrilla group, often known as the Baader-Meinhof group. I mean, also in the 70s, well, more in the 80s and 90s in the UK, there were a lot of hospital occupations by NHS workers, that's our National Health Service workers, against closure of proposed hospitals. And that did help save a number of wards and hospitals that were at risk of closure. So they kind of took over these hospitals and wards with the support of patients. They kicked out management and looked after patients directly. And funnily enough, after kicking out management from the hospitals and the wards, they could still run them just fine. But so there's a lot of cool stuff like that. On the map, there's stories about healthcare workers' strikes literally all over the world, from Pacific Islands to everywhere, around kind of concrete struggles over paying conditions in the health sector and things like outsourcing and privatization. So, in short, yes.
One other thing I would probably add to that is I was sort of recently reading about like healthcare struggles in Italy in the 70s. And one in particular, I think it's at the Rome Policlinico. It was at a time when there were a lot of kind of workplace collectives going on around Italy. But, when we think about the Italian struggles of the 60s and 70s, we're thinking about like kind of metal workers, other kind of like factories and things like that. But this one at a hospital was kind of interesting in the sense that, like, first of all, the fact that it was in a hospital, but then also the collective and the workplace assemblies that they had involved kind of medical students, nurses, porters and doctors, and like even patients also were involved in it. And there was this kind of attempt at breaking down the divides in knowledge between different sections of the people who worked in or used the hospitals. And they did, not just kind of fighting for like equal conditions between different kind of staff members or fighting for better conditions for members of staff, but they did stuff like they supported like an occupation of the admin buildings so they could establish a children's nursery for hospital workers, and there was also a feminist occupation of an operating theatre there as a part of a protest to provide free and safe abortions. So like that, and that's interesting, because it's got health workers but also patients all kind of working together.
And as you were saying that, I also remember, I don't know how I forgot, but there's also stories like the Young Lords, a Puerto Rican group of revolutionaries in the 1970s who did things like they occupied hospitals in New York City, which people of color, particularly Black and Puerto Rican people, had very negative health outcomes there. So they occupied them in protest. They also did stuff like they expropriated a tuberculosis scanning truck and then started running tuberculosis scans for poor people themselves. And at the same time, the Black Panthers were doing similar things, setting up free healthcare clinics to particularly to look at conditions that affected the Black community, more like sickle cell, anemia, and things like that. So yes, lots of examples of that sort of thing.
There's probably even more examples that we could talk about, but I guess we've got other questions that we kind of need to get to.
That's it for this preview today. To listen to the whole thing, as well as our entire back catalogue of exclusive bonus episodes, and get our regular episodes early without ads, and help us continue our work, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/workingclasshistory. Link in the show notes. Catch you next time.